I hope you guys are ready for the podcast equivalent of a nice warm hug, because I brought on two of the most inspiring, empowering, and lovely humans that I could think of to the show today. You guys, thanks so much for tuning into Hot Pizza Ass Podcast. I'm your host, Erin Darling Tralva, and today I am joined by the Basic Witches, aka Leah Knauer and Rachel Laforest. Their podcast is so great. It's one of my favorites. They talk a lot about healing and being authentic and living your life without shame or fear. Easier said than done, right? Here we are with the Basic Witches. I hope you guys love this episode as much as I do. Such a treat today. I'm so excited to finally have the Basic Witches on Hot Pizza Ass, Leah Knauer and Rachel Laforest. You guys, not only do I love your podcast, but I love you both as people. And I had such a great time doing your podcast before our whole world shifted dramatically. It wasn't even like that. It was a little bit over a year ago, but it feels like a decade ago.
Oh,
yes.
It was 100 years ago, Erin.
Right?
I don't even remember when that was. Everything's a blur.
It was December 2019, and I will put a link in the bio. The episode.
Yeah.
And so everyone listen to their podcast. But that it was like December, and I can't believe how crazy just 4 months later all of our worlds just like changed completely.
Well, it's another life now.
It really is. And you guys both, I feel, have changed a lot in the past year. Like, Rachel, I feel like you're like a different person. Like, let's talk about your journey.
Thanks. I have received similar feedback from other people, so you're onto something. But I feel like I continue to be more and more me, and I'm actually kind of studying myself. Like, is this just because I turned 30 and I'm getting to that age where you just finally say fuck it and let the bullshit go, or is it personal? I don't know. Now I'm kind of like, is everyone in their 30s just that wiser, more themselves version?
Well, I think it's also like pandemic life and
my own trauma.
What's important. Right.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
sure.
yeah, you know what? It's like I had a near-death experience, and you just see life differently after that. And I'm referring to what our listeners have heard a lot about, but trigger warning, a sexual assault that occurred in October 2019. So about 5 or 6 months before the pandemic, because that's our timeline reference for everything. BC, 5 to 6 months BC.
Yes.
And after being in a dark hole for many months, I like catapulted into the most I can see everything so clearly now. Like, the bullshit is so clear after major trauma. I think it's like being a soldier coming back from war, and you just see the bullshit. And so it's easier to say fuck that when you've thought you were going to die, like, because it just puts everything in perspective and the worth of things. And so, like, I've been making so many changes and just living more out loud. And like, I mean, one of the main things is like sexual art and erotic expression that I've always made in secret, but never sold online, obviously. So that's been kind of a coming out, and, you know, more officially coming out as queer. Yeah, that's the journey, Erin, since like last seeing you.
I know. I remember also when I first met you through the podcast, you couldn't talk about certain things because of legal issues.
Yeah, the trial's still ongoing. Yeah.
Right. And so I also you coming forward as a survivor, I've seen that story too also happen, and like publicly talking about that and kind of sharing that story, which I'm sure is really, really difficult too, to kind of put that all out there. How was that experience for you? Did you find that to be like empowering, or was it scary to be that honest about like reliving something that was so terrible?
Well, yeah. Shout out to EMDR therapy, because it desensitizes you to your trauma and rewires your brain so that you can talk about it without emotion. So it's not like I was able to talk about anything for the first many months of healing, you know, like it just wouldn't have even been possible. Like taking a shower wasn't even possible, you know, for a while. Like truly felt like an infant after the trauma. But after many months of therapy, it actually became like not even a choice for me. It was just like, I have to talk about this, because otherwise, what did I go through it for? With my specific skill set of like having a podcast, being a voice, you know, having a platform, how could I not? It didn't even feel like a choice. Like I wouldn't consider myself a hero, or like I did this really hard thing. It was like not even a choice.
Yeah.
I had to.
That's awesome. It's like, I feel like you've displayed a lot of growth and a lot of strength and courage.
Thank you.
That's what I've seen. And Leah, you are becoming like a manifestation boss, inspirational coach. Like,
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
And I've taken your class, and I love your class.
Thank you. What did you manifest anything from it?
I don't know. Okay, so I have this thing where I think I don't exactly know what it is that I consider a manifestation. Does that make sense?
Well, yes, it does make sense. I feel like you also naturally do it because of who you are. Like once you get into the flow of like positive thinking and the law of attraction, you don't even realize you're manifesting anymore. It falls into place. The universe provides when you are grateful and like open yourself up to those kind of opportunities. And what Rachel was saying, like being bold and living out loud and being honest about your desires and what you want.
Yeah, for real. And I feel like for you, I love this path for you and your art. Like you've done art for Hot Pizza Ass too.
Yes.
It's
yes.
it's just so cool. I wanted to ask you guys both this question up top, and just maybe we can have a conversation about it. But with everything that we've been through collectively over the past year, like what have you learned?
Oh my gosh.
About yourself, about your journey, or you know, we kind of touched on it before, like maybe some bullshit doesn't matter, but like what have you guys learned in the past year, and how has that changed you?
Yeah. Something I know my answer. I really pulled the veil this year off of like art is so a connection to my inner child, and play and color and fun and creating without judgment. And I realized this year that a huge pain point for me was that I used to give my mom art for Christmas, and she like never really appreciated it. So I created art for myself, didn't post it, didn't really tell anyone. And then when we were spending so much time inside, I was painting so much. And then I realized like, wow, I love this. It comes so easy to me. And like, why am I not sharing it? And I realized it was because I was still holding myself back because of past trauma. So me like just painting, that simple idea of painting is so much more than that. It's exposing my insides and my brain and like what I love doing.
Oh my gosh, that's good.
That is so beautiful, Leah. And it totally is like, okay, how you saw the connection to your inner child. I've been working on healing mine, as we all are, and working on that with clients. Yeah, right. But mine is more so like shame. I grew up Catholic, and like that was really instilled. And so it's so interesting. We're parallel, but like mine is more of healing the inner child's shame so that I can actually sexually express myself, because that was so wrong. And so, you know, that is sin. That is like, I was literally told in church not to masturbate from a very young age. Like, so I'm doing the opposite now, but we're parallel. That's, yeah. I think that's one of the big catapults that this year had for me is like I said before, seeing the bullshit clearly, and then also not giving into the shame that tries to come up. And oh my gosh.
Well, what's interesting is sexuality and creativity are like both feminine, and you and I are both like delving into more of that expression. It's feminine expression. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh, totally.
Yeah.
And like your art is witty and my art is sexy, and like those are also very feminine.
Yeah, I want to talk about what you were just about to touch on when you were kind of saying like combating your own shame that comes up around it. So
Yeah.
what has that been like for you, your own internal journey? And what do you do when you hear an inner voice that's like, maybe I shouldn't do this? How do
Okay.
you get out of that?
I so have an answer for both of those. The first part about like, what is it like for me? The way I got past basically overriding the shame is I saw other women that I respect doing it. And like, it was like, oh, I can do it too. It's really truly like seeking inspiration and letting that be the example instead of these rooted old examples I had that are patriarchal. Like, and I guess at a certain point, I also realized that I had been kind of covertly doing this on Instagram for free. Like, I'll have a bikini picture. That's essentially the same thing as like, something in a high fashion thong that I'm doing like an art piece out of and selling. But I'm giving it away for free. So that kind of made me angry. And then the anger also overpowered the shame because it was motivating, where I was like, fuck that. I'm going to own it and actually make the art and sell it and like take myself seriously with this expression.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, why? I feel like the way that we look at someone posting something scandalous on a free platform is okay, but when they do it on behind a paywall, it's looked down upon.
Right.
Or
What
if it's
is
on a
that about?
billboard.
Yeah.
If they're making thousands of dollars from Victoria's Secret, then it's fine. But if it's under your own will,
if it's an independent like artist trying to, So, and then the second question, what do I do when like the shame part speaks up? So IFS, internal family systems, is this type of therapy my therapist has also introduced along with EMDR, and it's making the parts and personalities of you separate from the core of who you are. So it's basically like naming the different parts that reside within you, like Inside Out, kind of.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this. Tell me everything.
Look into it. Internal family systems. Yeah, it's a type of psychology. And it's so cool because they kind of describe it as like a living room, and all the parts of you would be these characters sitting around the living room, and like how does each one sit and act and talk, and like your therapist or coach can walk you through meetings apart and having a conversation, and you can ask it questions and get answers. So I've gotten to know the shame part, the lack part. I have a part called the justice. It's all personal to you. And then I have my queen part, and I have my core.
Yes, queen.
And yes, queen. She's awesome. Obviously.
Yeah.
So you can start to like, when you get the separation from the part, then you can make decisions from the core instead of letting the part run the show, which a lot of times they do. A lot of times your fear part or your like anxiety part might be making your schedule for you or deciding things. So I'm really just trying to get this distance, and it's been really empowering. Oh, and the other thing about IFS is they say like multiple personalities disorder is just an imbalance, but we all have multiple personalities.
Yeah, I feel like is that kind of like when you're like silencing your inner critic, and you I don't know, do that thing where it's like, oh, this is not me. Like if I'm thinking thoughts, there's me, and then there's the thing that's observing the thought. And that's kind of like that, but multiple emotions kind of.
Yeah. It's almost like categorizing maybe some of those thoughts into a personality. And then you can discover, when did I start to develop that part? Like what happened that made me have to develop that part? You can try to give the part what it needs to quiet it down, or you can override the parts like with another part. It's really cool.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It is. Isn't all of this though? All therapy life. Yeah.
That's true. Therapy is definitely a lot of work.
But it's the most
fun work.
Well, you get the most like return for it.
Yeah,
for investment.
That's
Yeah.
true. I think I've only done like I've done traditional therapy, I've done couples therapy,
Oh, cool.
and I did hypnotherapy, which was really interesting because I wasn't technically hypnotized, but you know, they like they put you. Have you guys ever done it before?
I haven't.
I've done EMDR. EMDR is like kind of similar, and tapping is also a kind, but no, not straight hypnotherapy. What was it like?
It was kind of awesome. And
Do they
I
really
actually,
do the clock, wave it in your face?
No,
Okay.
The lady asked me if I knew anyone else that might be into it. And I thought of you guys, actually. I was like, I should reach out to them.
We would.
She just does it like to help people. And, but it was really interesting because, so she kind of like guided me back. It's kind of like you do a mini therapy session before where you talk about certain things and you can ask your subconscious questions. So she kind of asks you a few questions and then asks you, okay, where do you want to go with this session? I'm going to ask you the questions while you're under and you're going to answer them. So it's like a real mind fuck, right? And so then she starts like putting you into like a guided meditation, like a very relaxed state. But you, I think you have to be willing, you know, it's like doing Reiki or something. Like you have to like open up your energy. And then you also have to, you kind of know that you're going into a meditation and you're not going to completely black out or something.
Yeah.
So it's kind of what you allow it to be. And so she was asking me all the questions that I wanted to know about myself. And you can ask questions about your past life or like, why do I have fear about this or that? Or why doesn't like my relationship life work out or whatever? And it was really, really interesting.
Yeah. What did you take away from it?
Well, okay. So she recorded the session and we talked about it after, but I also got to listen to it. Right. And so I didn't
like, did you remember what you had said?
Some things,
okay.
But it was a long session. So
fascinating.
Other things I was like, what? So I'm a new human life form, but I've been here before as plant energy. And
okay,
you guys, this one makes me believe in it because I am not.
You love plants?
I do like plants and I like colors. I'm like you, Leah, like I speak in colors, like that's a big part of my language. And I always felt like colors signified different things and like they all kind of,
for sure.
Yeah, they all have like a sign for me, you know, like green is one of my favorite colors. And
Same.
To me, green is like life, it's energy, it's money. Like I love green. And and I love yellow. Like there's just certain colors that to me mean different things. And so it was really weird because I never made that connection, like in my waking random life, like where I'm like, oh yeah, I was plant energy for sure. That's what all this
right.
But my subconscious told me that I was plant energy. And that's why I was like, how did I come up with that? And I came up with it like that, you know, like it was just like, I didn't even stop to think about it. So that's what freaked me out. I was like,
that's so cool.
That's awesome.
Wild. It was really, really wild. So I had a really interesting experience doing it. But yeah,
I actually was pulled on stage. Did you guys have like a assembly in high school? Yes, where they had a hypnotist. I was pulled on stage. To this day, I don't know if it worked or if I was just like going along with it, but it quote worked. Like I did the shit he told me to do.
Oh my God, really?
But I'm like a crazy person. I would do those things in front of my school anyway. So
yeah.
I don't know. I've seen one of those that my friends were in and I don't understand. It seemed real. I don't know. Like I'm like, this person would never do what that guy was getting him to do on stage. And they were doing it. Like they seemed truly hypnotized. I think that it works.
I don't know. Believe in it too. And I also sometimes believe that sometimes people want an excuse to do things like prevention.
That could be, you never know.
I think that's sometimes why people drink a lot. Not all the time, but I think some people like to have that as an excuse.
Yeah.
For certain things.
Yeah. I mean, probably goes back to the shame.
Yeah.
Why do we ever have to have an excuse for something? Shame. Something that makes it okay.
Whoa.
To do whatever we're doing. Yeah. That's capitalism. It instills shame. It's the patriarchy, which, you know, those two are intrinsically linked. That's the whole job of it, is to make you hate yourself.
That's really sad.
I live with this every day. I'm like,
it's why both of us have our podcast though. Like,
yeah,
Erin, like you loving your body and loving yourself is a fuck you to the patriarchy.
Yes, exactly.
How crazy and stupid is that? Something as simple and beautiful as you loving yourself is against what we've been conditioned.
That's it's mind-blowing. And I think it is like really sad and depressing that learning how to like love and appreciate and accept yourself is a journey. Like that's something we have to learn and we have to work at.
I know.
It breaks my heart.
Same. It's like, why? Well, we know why, but why didn't we start that way? Why does it have to start the other way? Because of capitalism.
But I'm glad that the three of us and everyone listening, we're all here.
Yeah.
You know, at the best time. This is somehow the best time. So I'm grateful for everyone who has like gotten us to this point.
Oh my gosh. The amount of liberty we have as women and others, like compared to 100 years ago. Yeah. I'd much rather be alive now.
I mean, even just 2 generations ago.
Yeah.
Like your grandparents, like think about their lives and their limitations and the things that they were judged for.
I want just all women to be empowered, you guys.
Yes.
Just make the choices they want to make.
And I think that's great. And I think that what you both are doing encourages that and supports people who are in the need of, you know, tools to feel better, to grow, to challenge the systems that encourage us to live our lives in a way that maybe we don't want to live them deep down inside. Yeah. So I think like what you guys are doing with your podcast and your individual businesses is so inspiring and great. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to talk about how to manifest the best year ever. And I think this is a good time to kind of wipe the slate clean for a lot of people. And I think also a big challenge is bringing in the baggage from last year and the trauma and whatever you suffered personally. Not just talking about you guys, I just mean as a collective. How do we break free of all of the bullshit that we've gone through in the past 9 months and really like clean slate it? What have you guys been doing to try to get
I would say even 4 years, but yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate.
What we were just talking about, being honest, starting with ourselves and then others. And honesty includes responsibility and accountability and justice.
Oh, I like that, Leah. I was getting kind of a visual when you asked of change and newness, and Leah and I, like you brought up too, we're both experiencing a lot of that and like flowing with it and not resisting it. And I think that it's the time to try new things. It's the time to make changes. So I think in new exploration, you get that distance from the baggage just by following passion.
I love that. I think that's really important too, following passion.
And like question everything. I love this. I remember this quote from Women and Gender Study in college, which was like one of the only classes I liked. But it was learn to see the strange as familiar and the familiar as strange. Like question everything. Like don't like why, like if you find that you're depressed, ask like why am I staying at this job that I hate? Or, you know, just what if I saw this familiar thing, my job, as like totally strange? Then could I detach from it and like make a change? It's just like, and Leah taught me this. It's like, you can always change your mind. I think this year is all about like, try something new. Things aren't working. We're seeing how many examples of things aren't working. We need to make changes.
Yes.
Yeah. So what did you teach her, Leah? What did you teach her?
A message that's been coming through for me like repetitively in the bath lately has been about permission. Like growing up when we're children, and we've talked about this on Basic Witches before, I know, we grow up, we're children, our parents tell us what to do, then we're in a school, the teachers and the principal tell us what to do, then we go to college, the professors tell us what to do, and then all of a sudden you're an adult, you hit 25, 30, and you don't need permission to do anything. And if you are searching outwardly to any institution or person or society or entity or anything to give you permission to finally do what you want to do, you're going to be searching forever. And you get to give you permission to live the life you want. I've also been reading Doyle's book, and I love her so much, and she's been inspiring me, so I have to give her a shout out.
Untamed?
Yes. It's incredible.
I bought that for like all my best girlfriends for Christmas.
It's so good. My boyfriend's sister got it for me for Christmas, and I love it. I'm reading it so fast.
It's really good. I got the audio.
I love her.
And I was like, oh my God, just like in tears from the cheetah on. I was just like, all right, you got me.
Yes.
But I wanted to ask you this question. I didn't want to like cut you off, but okay. So Leah, what do you think about guru culture?
Oh,
love that question.
Wow. It's a little problematic. Again, I don't think anyone is going to give you validation, but gurus can teach you tools. I think if they're not toxic, like the hot yoga guy, I don't even want to say his name, and other people that there's been a lot of stories about, they're all people. We're all people. We make mistakes, and sometimes bad people get too much power. So I don't totally stand behind guru culture, but I think that gurus, there are good ones like Dalai Lama, obviously, and so many others. But yeah, it's not the end all be all.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Rachel?
I think like, how do we even define guru anymore? Because I see YouTubers as like these gurus that people—
Beauty guru.
I mean, even the ones who are like just a guy doing pranks and stuff, like that's guru culture. It's like, I don't know. My thoughts are I have some trepidation.
Mm-hmm.
And I like always question integrity with gurus sometimes, but it's like at the same time, I know where we make our show from is a grounded place where it's like this conversation right now. It's like, it's just the three of us hanging out. We're talking completely honestly. And later on someone listens to it. I don't ever really think about that. I keep it like, oh, we're just in a secret room talking about whatever. And that's how I'm able to like be so honest. But when like, I don't know, certain figureheads, I do worry that their integrity is lacking.
I'm just dubious of anyone that has a business attached to it, because kind of what Leah was saying that sparked something in me is the idea of not asking permission, but we seek permission. Humans love to get permission for decisions
Validation.
That we want to feel like confirmation bias. We're always looking for
love being a part of something, love community.
And we like someone who has the answers, and not all of them are bad. I think even there's like, live positive types of gurus, but like anytime they're selling something, unless it's a book, I'm always like, I don't know. Like, do I really want this person in my ear? Like, even if it's about like empowerment, I feel like it defeats like the idea of self-empowerment, right? It's like, here's someone who's going to tell me how to do it.
Right. I know it's a fine line, because I think that the person on the other end of it, if they're a healer, they do deserve to be paid as long as they're giving you tools in exchange for the payment. So not leaving you where you're dependent on them forever.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, we all have podcasts. Are we gurus? Like, I don't know. Now I'm questioning it.
I think
people come to us for something.
I think what we do is provide an opinion. And I think people come to your platform and to my platform to hear what we have to say about something. It's like what you think about something versus, it's like conversation versus like a mantra.
True.
Right?
True. Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of
a good
weird.
distinction.
Yeah. I think something I've been thinking about these days. I've been more and more skeptical of people that seem to have the answers.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, let me try to remember where was this quote from? Okay. Oh, from Princess Bride. You know that movie?
Yes.
Love it. Just rewatched it. It's so good. It's so good. The main guy says, life is pain. Wait, hold on. Life is
Anyone who says different is trying to sell you something.
Is trying to sell you something. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Life is pain. Anyone who tells you otherwise is trying to sell you something.
Whoa.
I mean, can't argue with that.
I really can't. Yeah. I'm like,
because one of the guru things that just drives me crazy, and maybe because I'm a double Scorpio, so I feel all the like dark emotions, but is the happiness like sort of goopy whitewashing of the self-help, and guru genre. Like I don't ever market anything as happiness. That's not like, I mean, I'm trying to get people to love themselves, because I think you can end up getting happiness and feel sadness more fully from loving yourself. But like, I would never sell happiness, and so many of them do.
yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at it.
I don't like that. It feels scammy.
Yeah, it does feel scammy because it's not real. Yeah. What do you think, Leah?
I mean, I'm just thinking about how much money I spent on my Tony Robbins ticket.
Wait, when did you go? How much did it cost?
She walked on the coals.
I walked on coals. It was an amazing experience. I'll be honest. So it's interesting. Like, I don't think that Tony Robbins is perfect, but he still gave me like an amazing experience. So it's, I don't know.
Part of that is entertainment. Like, you're paying to be entertained,
Part of it. And then you're also paying to be a part of this like huge spiritual, I mean, you're in a room with like thousands of people, you're all chanting the same thing, and like the energy is so high. They don't feed you. You have to get up really early, so you're really tired. Like, they wear you down for like 3 days straight.
They don't feed you?
You have to bring your own food, but like, yeah, it's intense, but then you walk on coals and you feel like you can do anything. It was fascinating.
So what was the walking on coals actually like? Like, is it hot, like real fiery burning coals?
What's really cool is they teach you how to do it pretty well, and you're going so fast you don't even really feel it.
That would scare the crap out of me.
That seems insane. Yeah.
Wow, you're brave.
It was wild. I mean, with all those people chanting, it's like you feel like you gotta.
That's awesome. I wanted to ask you guys, I feel like you'd be the perfect people to discuss this with, but like, so I've been over quarantine, I read this book about like your shadow self and shadow integration. Right. Okay. I figured you guys would know.
Oh, yeah.
I never like fully understood the idea of shadow integration and like why it's important to like accept like your like the parts about you that you might want to change, or that you find to be not great, or the things you dislike, or maybe someone else told you something and you internalized it. And so I read this book about it called The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. You guys read this?
No, I want to.
Okay, I'm going to put it in the show notes and I'll send you guys the link. It's a really interesting book, but it's all about your shadow self. And it took me reading that book to actually realize like the point of integrating your shadow is like, it's kind of what you were talking about earlier, Rachel. It's like you choosing to love yourself. Like, you can always change stuff. You can always decide, I want to do something different. Actually, you know what? I'm not happy. I want to lose 5 pounds, or I want a different job. I want to make more money. Like, there's nothing wrong with ever making a decision that you think will genuinely improve your life if it's coming from like a good place that you honestly think this is what I want.
Right.
But if you never get there, you still have to figure out how to live with yourself. And I've realized, oh shit, that's the point of shadow integration. So, I can't just like think, oh, I'm unsuccessful if I don't make this amount of money, because I may never, that might not happen, So it's kind of like, I have to decide that I'm successful or that I still love myself. And to me, that was just like mind blowing. And I can't believe it took me this long to get to that point to realize why it's important to like actually deal with and work with and decide to accept the things that you don't like or the things that you're ashamed of.
And this is why asking yourself questions and being honest with yourself is so valuable, because you can learn those things, and it's all self-acceptance, right? Like you'll never be able to escape those parts of you. They'll always be with you. So you might as well learn to love them and live with them and accept it.
Yes.
And that's what so many people with quarantine are realizing. They have to live with themselves by being stuck inside. It's caused this huge awakening. And you said it so well, Erin, with all that self-acceptance. In my self-love course, there's a day on acceptance. And like the way I explain it is you have to accept yourself as is, but that doesn't mean you can't make changes later. The point is, by accepting yourself right now as is, no refunds or returns, or exchanges, you get on your own team. So that if you do want to make a change, it's actually possible. But when you're hating yourself and not accepting yourself, how could you ever even make those changes? Because you're not on your own team.
And if you're not on your own team, how are you going to expect other people to be on your team?
Exactly.
True. And if you feel like you need to be a completely different person to be the version of you that you want, like that's not really doing you any favors getting there either. You know, it's kind of like, well, what about me today? Am I going to not love myself until I get to that point? Because that's not really fair.
It's going to be such a struggle bus to get there. If you don't love yourself along the way.
Yeah.
And like shadow work, we had Teddy Longordo on. She's the dragon witch. At Witchtastica. And she is studied Jungian psychology. That's what her degree's in. So she knows all about shadow work because that term comes from Jung in dealing with the subconscious. But the way he defines it is it's just anything you're repressing. So joy could be part of your shadow self. Yes. And happiness could be part of your shadow self.
And the shadow work for me has been painting.
And something that you actually enjoy.
And Erin, I'm wondering for you, what was your shadow work that you identified from reading the book?
I think there's things that I've done in the past that I really judge myself for, and I still do, and I need to continue working on it. And I should reread my journals from when I did that book. But to be honest with you, I did pageants and stuff, and okay, I got scholarship money. I went to a real expensive school, and it helped. But I hate talking about it. And I know there's material there as a comedian, as a podcaster, as a writer. There's so much I could talk about. But I've never gone there in all my years of being a performer, really, truly gone there. I've mentioned it. But because I have problems with, I feel like the patriarchy, I think the swimsuit competition, especially in teen pageants, it's disgusting. Getting rated a number, a 1 to 10 number on your body, and it's just gross. And also knowing Donald Trump owned Miss USA, all this is disgusting.
I would get mail. From him every year inviting me to do the pageant. I'm glad I never did.
Right. And so I did. And so I have problems with that. I want to disassociate from that world. And
did you ever see him?
No.
Okay, good.
No. But yeah, it's just kind of, it's something that I judge about myself. And those are kind of things that I need to come to grips with. Okay, so I did want to win something that valued me for the way that I looked, and that's
to give you credit. Though we are all a product of the patriarchy.
That is true.
You didn't know any better at that time, and now you do.
Yeah.
And how could you have learned it without experiencing everything on your exact track? But at the same time, I totally understand, because it took me a long time to, I don't even know if the word is accept or forgive but reason maybe with a past version of myself who did things I don't agree with now. And for me, like doing that IFS, the talking to the parts helped because I was able to see like, what is this part of me? There was only a part of me holding on to that judgment on the past. So it's probably just one part of you that feels that way. And the core of you is probably like, oh, I was young. I was just going with the flow.
Yeah. Like whatever. I took some cute pictures. Like I can always,
it was stage time. You're a comedian.
Won a pageant. Like, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But also I wanted to talk about this too, because I was thinking about that when you were talking about how shadow could even be joy or happiness. So have you guys had this experience where you as a woman, everyone will tell you, or certain people will tell you that you need to present like professional or a certain way or have a certain type of voice to be taken seriously, and sometimes sadly enthusiasm or having a fun personality is like thrown into that too, like this is how you don't get taken seriously, and then kind of like, you know, maybe trying to conform or become this like professional successful woman idea, which may not incorporate all parts of your personality. Is this relatable at all?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we were both like, keep going because everything was hitting. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I've felt that a lot too, also, which is kind of interesting because it's like, oh, that's part of my shadowy self is like being less fun or bubbly because no one will take you seriously. And
the improv.
Small.
Yeah, the improv world, like it actually wasn't until the class where Leah and I met where she really inspired me because I have crazy sense of fashion and she would actually wear her crazy sense of fashion to class, but I was conforming before I met her and I would wear fucking flannel and jeans like all the dudes so that I'd be taken seriously.
Oh, and I love every time you say that because it sounds so small to maybe someone listening, but that was such a fucking journey for me because I started doing stand-up like 9 years ago. So dude heavy. I'm also 19, so impressionable, just wanted to be liked, just wanted to perform, just wanted to get better. And so like I found at a certain point that I was not myself anymore. I've always been a fashionable person and I was cut off from my femininity and my sexuality because they're related. And like, yeah, so it was such a journey for me to learn, oh, I can still perform and be funny and wear what I want to wear and look amazing. I don't have to be masculine and play small and hide in the back and play on the back line in sneakers, you know? Yeah.
I've done that and talked about that too on this podcast before.
Right?
I've had people like explicitly tell me like, oh, you should not wear a dress. That's distracting. Or, you know, you want people to listen to your jokes, not
look at Natasha Leggero. Like. She built a whole career off of like wearing the glam, the long gloves. Like she's amazing. That's who she is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love it when I see people doing their own thing as a stand-up because like I definitely experienced I feel like judgment, and I also conformed. And then I don't think I've fully come back to stand up in a way where I'm like, where I felt, okay, this is 100% me. Like I don't think I've ever really felt like that. Like
I relate to that
when I really first started, you know,
it's very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And then you got hurt. So it's like, of course you shut it down. Yeah. Do you think you could get back there though, Erin?
I think that I could. I think like maybe after, you know, doing all of this, being locked in. And I think that when we are able to get back on stages, I think there's going to be something really liberating about that. And I think there's going to be some really cool art that comes out at that point. People are just going to be like, oh, all this like pent up energy, and, you know, and I don't know. I just think it's going to be like a crazy performance explosion.
Oh yeah.
When we all have the opportunity to get back to performance life. But you know what's so funny, Leah, is today, or maybe not today. God, is it Thursday? Is it Wednesday?
Yeah.
Who knows?
It is.
Okay. Well, this week at some point, I literally thought it was Tuesday because on Monday I wrote my little planner has like like, what is this week's goal? And I was like, play big. I want to play big this week. And I don't know if I've fully done it, but I do really like that idea. I think that should be my goal for a while.
Love it. What does playing big look like to you?
I think it means to take risks in my case and to do stuff that freaks me out. Like, you know, maybe it's like reaching out to a really awesome podcast guest and knowing that like I might not get a response, but you know, just going for it, or, you know, just kind of like putting stuff out there. Sometimes I feel, are you guys on TikTok? Okay.
A little bit.
Do you like TikTok?
No.
Yes and no. There's certain things I really like about it.
I'm just trying to be off my phone less.
Yes.
You mean off your phone more?
Oh, yeah.
It programmed you, Leah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. That app is like, it's really fascinating to me because you see people blow up who you kind of like, oh, they're just like very clear about their POV. And to me, I'm like, that's kind of awesome because it works in a way that other apps don't.
Yeah.
Where you can just, you know, blow up talking about one thing over and over and over again. And that community, like when they find you, they really, really find you. And I'm like, there's something that has to say about really putting your stuff out there. Like to the point where you're like, okay, I'm going to make videos about this like all day, every day, whether it's, I don't know. Some of the people I think are really interesting. I followed a page today. It's like a guy that talks about taxes and he has 1 million followers. All his videos are the same. It's like how it's going to change when Biden is president, taxes, and what's going to happen with your EIDL loans and your student loans and your small business, SBA, whatever. Same video 6 times in a row. I watched all 6.
Are you enjoying it?
Well, I was expecting to get more information. So no, I did not enjoy it.
Okay.
Like, whoa, this guy just blew up. But you
were there.
Yeah, he just had this, like his POV, he's like, this is my thing. And he just doubled down on it. And sometimes I feel like I get a little bit afraid to like double down on a POV because of worrying that it'll alienate people or that, you know, and I think that app has taught me a good lesson about playing big. Like this guy was just like, I do taxes. I'm just going to be tax guy, tax all the time. And it worked.
Well, maybe he was tapping into flow and like not doing too much effort or like just, you know, coming from the core.
He made one and he would put his phone down. He's like, I have more. He's like, wait, I'm not done yet.
Got more in me. The inspiration was flowing for him.
Yeah. What do you guys think playing big means? Like, what does it mean for you guys?
I think no fucks given. Like,
yeah,
like it's about not caring what other people think. It's doing what, like we were saying for the women earlier in your friend, like doing what you want.
Actually, because playing big for me at one point was tweeting at Kevin Smith every day for 278 days. And then I got into his movie and they're making a Legally Blonde 3. And recently I've been thinking like, should I tweet at Reese Witherspoon? I mean, like it worked once. I don't know. I think I need a new mission, a big mission.
Okay. So Leah, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, like around day 100, like what kept you on the path? Like, were you like, God, do I sound crazy? Like, how did your inner critic come in? Did you feel that? How did you silence it? I want to know how you felt on day 100.
I definitely felt crazy. What kept me going was my friends and the people that were following along that were like so emotionally invested. And it felt like after you do something for 100 days, you're like, I can't stop now. It's just like, look what happened. I did it. And on set, Kevin Smith said to me, like, persistence pays off. And I will never be able to forget that lesson. And he taught me so much through that, and also taught the people who were following that whole journey for me. So it was crazy during it, but such a valuable experience.
Yeah.
You know what's coming to me, Leah, is like, it never happens the same way twice. So maybe like something big, but something different as an approach. I don't know. That just came to me. Like, I think another part of playing big for me is like any form of rebellion, any counterculture, counterintuitive, like against the grain. So that could be wearing what you want on stage, or for me, leaving social media. Like that's playing big to me because that's scary. It continues to be scary that I got off Instagram, but
that is something I really wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Because I was following that journey too. And I saw what you were posting and I saw like your reasons behind it. And I was like, damn, could I do what she did? And I want you to talk about your journey so the listeners know what I know.
Okay. So I'll just, as a spoiler alert, a motivation was, again, seeing another woman I respect do it first. And I was like, if Delaney Fisher can do it, I can do it. And she has way more followers than me. So she's, quote, giving up more by getting off. But to back up and tell the journey. So I started making erotic art. So I'll do like paintings using only my breasts, or like I'll do photo shoots that are like create a silhouette and then I'll paint around it, and I just making erotic sensual art, and I'm selling it on OnlyFans. And I was trying to show my Instagram following what I'm up to so that they could come buy the art. And Instagram obviously picked up on it so fast and started removing my art. And it's so crazy to me because I was really careful never to show nipple. Everything was either like had an effect on it or had paint over it. Like there was never any straight up nudity. But they target women and sexually empowered women. So it was like building a frustration. And then eventually they shadow banned me like 3 times and I could never seem to come back from it. And to the point where like, you can't really tag me unless you fully type out every single letter of my username exactly. They really just put their thumb on me. And I was like, I had already realized through having that trauma and not being able to do social media that coming back to it, I'm not addicted. I'm not really getting a lot out of it. So I already had thoughts of leaving, and then being shadow banned, it was just like, I'm going to take the power back and I'm going to decide to leave, kind of like telling a boss who's about to fire you that you quit. But like, I wanted to have some ounce of like a decision and not just get fucked up the ass by them, you know? So I went to go pay my utilities one day, and instead I just got off Instagram. It just hit me. I was like, it's time to go. It's time to go. And it just felt like, I sometimes feel like I'm a captain in an army in this fight against patriarchy, and like my following is my soldiers, and that's how like the Basic Witches following is too. And if I am a captain and I set up camp somewhere with all my soldiers, and then I realize it's not safe for us, we can't say what we want to say, we're not free here, we're getting censored here, like, then I'm going to move camp. And so I've just been collecting emails and figuring out where my next landing spot is for my camp of soldiers.
Yeah. That really is brave, especially because like you have art to promote, you have the podcast to promote, it's like, I feel like we're so used to using these platforms as a way to promote the stuff that we do. So it's like, where are the voices going to hear me? Like what?
Well, and so I've had so much fear about money come up, which makes total sense. Like childhood wounds, because it feels like, did I take away an opportunity? But I keep reminding myself that I'm following what feels good. I'm trusting my intuition. And truly my vision is like, it's not safe here for this expression. Like this isn't safe here. Instagram is dangerous. And clearly it does hurt a lot of people too, as we've all seen the social dilemma. I keep reminding myself there was a time before social media where business thrived. And I'm getting creative. Like I'm considering doing paper mail outs to help the USPS and to market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
That's really cool. It's a badass move. I remember like 4 years ago, I wanted to get off Facebook. I even made a post. I wrote my goodbye post.
But then you stayed?
Oh, gosh. I stayed. I was like, at the end of the week, I am going to get off Facebook. I don't believe in this, and Mark Zuckerberg can suck it and all this shit. And it's still up there.
We as a society have become very
dependent.
dependent on it.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't delete any of my accounts. They're just, I don't use them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I'm going to just leave it there. It's like I'm not participating in the system, but the contact option is there if someone needs to get a hold of me. But it feels like being totally gone because I'm not participating.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where you're at on Facebook, it sounds like.
For the most part.
I mean, I think that's healthy. I think like, I don't know. I think that's healthy.
Each person has to decide what their boundary is with social media. And it's important too, because it can be really toxic.
It really can. We've seen a lot of that recently.
Mm-hmm. And even the reward of it is toxic, you know?
Yeah, it's like addicting.
Yeah. What were you going to ask?
I was going to ask if you guys have lost friends during this pandemic. Like, have you observed any, actions or anything?
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, I can't align with that anymore. Tell me everything.
100%. Yeah. I had just reconnected and healed a bond with an old friend before the pandemic. And then the pandemic revealed this person was anti-mask and anti-vaccine and like going down the conspiracy route. And I couldn't be friends with them anymore. So it totally lost me a friend, but I guess it was the truth for now. That could always change.
Yeah.
Damn. I haven't, but I thought you were asking something else, something darker.
What did you think I was going to ask?
If a friend died?
If we've lost friends, because I've lost friends of friends, like a lot of acquaintances. There's been so much loss in general over the past, year. And we are all as a country and as the world going through a trauma that when we look back, I think we'll be like, whoa, we survived that. And we will, I hope, have a moment to finally decompress. And because right now we're all in fight or flight, just trying to survive and get through and find the moments of joy and stay happy and healthy as much as we can. But yeah, I just want to give all of us credit for what we're going through.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think everyone needs a dose of like validating that you're not crazy for feeling crazy right now.
It's hard. And I think it's especially hard, like how deep we are. Like we're almost a year in.
I know.
I didn't imagine myself making it this far, truly.
Like, do you guys have anyone with really good hair grow outs that they've done like the entire year growing?
No.
I did, and then I cut it. I was like,
okay.
Disgusting. I can't anymore.
You're growing your beard out?
I pretty much.
I mean, I let my underarm hair grow now. I'm like, fine.
Oh, my leg hair is so long.
Yeah. I just feel like some people didn't cut it the whole time. And so you can see, like my partner, you can see that's been a year. It's been a year because that's how long your hair is. Like,
it's like caveman shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I grew out my hair to my natural hair color. And then it got to the point where it was like, because it was blonde. And then it like the blonde part was so fried and gross. I was like, I really do need to like cut all this off.
Yeah.
So I cut it off, but it was the first time since probably middle school that I saw like my real hair color, which was crazy. That was
did that bring up a whole spiritual journey or?
I don't know, because I always, I guess, kind of questioned, okay, well, like what, like, should I just fully embrace like my natural self? It would save me money. It would, right? Like it'd probably be a lot easier for my life. Like, why do I want to like look a certain way? And then I realized, oh, it's just because I legitimately look better as a blonde.
It's just fact.
I so relate.
I relate to that
just
too.
That simple. Like, I don't know.
It just does. Yeah.
Rachel and I were just talking about this like 2 hours ago because my hair is totally grown out, but it's literally teaching me to just accept myself.
But you have like a balayage, like cool beach wave color going on.
My guy's all about keeping it natural looking. He's really good.
I love it.
it.
Obviously a long time, but
but no, I think, yeah, if you feel better as a blonde, you should totally stay. I get it. I'm naturally a 4. I'm naturally a 4, which is like almost black. Very, very, very dark.
Wait, what's the number scale?
Like 0 to 10, I think. It's either 10 or 12.
Oh.
So 0 is black?
Yeah.
What is 10? Blonde?
And 10 is ice blonde, like white. And so being below a 5 is very dark.
I'm probably a 6.
You're probably like a 7.
Okay.
I think I'm in between you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you're a 6.
Maybe I'm a 6 or a 5, but I put some color back in. It's not enough.
It looks so good though. It looks so good.
It looks really good.
It's a fact.
Not enough. It's just something
to get you by. I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but it really makes me so happy. Like when I go light, and I feel like it changes my eye color a little, and it goes good with my skin, and it's worth it because it makes me so happy. Like I've decided it's worth it, because each time I get scared about the money, and then I do it, and then I'm like, oh, I love it so much.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Exactly, you guys.
Makes me happy.
Yay. Well, I'm so glad that we got to catch up and do this podcast. And
this was so fun.
I know we finally
Could
got
I
to
actually
have you on.
Pull a card? I brought my cards.
Oh my God. Yes, I was hoping you would.
Oh, amazing. Okay. I just felt like everyone needed some self-care. So I brought the Sacred Self-Care Oracle deck. So this is for everyone listening and for the 3 of us here. This is let's ask, how can we take care of ourselves? Let's breathe. Hold it. Exhale. Okay. We all need to sync with the moon, number 51.
Okay.
I embrace my ebb and flow, my many phases, and the cycles of life. The moon is a powerful celestial entity that reflects the flow of our cycles and the many phases we go through. Look up the current moon phase for guidance on which energy will serve you best at this time. So I'll read for new moon. New moon, carve out the time and space to get clear on your desires and set your intentions. Write down what you want to manifest to amplify your intentions and keep track.
Full circle.
What? Hold on. What? To what you want to manifest. Okay. Leah, can you give us a few quick tips on how to manifest?
Ooh. Yes.
Okay.
Well, in my course, I break it down into 4 steps: vision, action, accountability, gratitude. So vision, like asking yourself, what is it specifically that you want, or how do you want your life to be and feel like? Action, what small actions can you take every day to go towards that? Accountability, how can you be honest with yourself and others about what you want? Sorry. And gratitude, how can I be gratitude today for how far I've come? And if you do those 4 things, you'll kill it.
Awesome. So basically, it's all about like clarity and actually doing the things that you want to do.
And breaking it down, making it digestible and not as scary.
Good.
Breaking it down into little steps. Yeah.
Okay. Great. You make it sound so easy.
It's fun.
I think it works when it's easy, right? Like in flow.
Perfect. All right. So everyone, live in flow.
These basic witches. Yeah. Sync with the moon, live in flow, fuck guru culture. Just kidding. We don't know.
All the buzzwords.
Great. This is exactly the episode that everyone needed. So thank you
I'm so glad.
much. I will have all of the links to all of your stuff in the show notes. So you guys please follow them and support their show and support their businesses. And yes, and we will see you guys next time. I hope to have you again soon on Hot Pizza Ass.
Love you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. How much do we love the Basic Witches? You guys, don't forget to subscribe to their podcast and check them out. And if you love Hot Piece of Ass, that this is providing value into your life, please leave me a review on iTunes or support me on Patreon, patreon.com/Erin Darling, for a completely revamped Patreon with a lot of new levels and ways to support the podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Love you lots. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time.